We now want to bring that into Cinema 4D. Now, so far we just have that very short single cycle animation. It's about 1 second long. In Cinema 4D, we're going to take that and extend it. Opening our character in Cinema 4D is very simple. We just drag and drop into the main window and just simply click OK. And then this here is the skeleton which holds the animation. So if you open this up, you would see, the different body parts, and each of these is animated. Hence these keyframes you see down here. This is what drives the animation. If you actually want to see the skeleton or the joints, go to Filter and enable Joint. And now you can see what's driving this animation. It's going in the wrong direction though, so what I would do is create a new null object, and let's call this run number 1. And I'm just going to take everything at frame 0 and place it inside of this null object. Go to its coordinates, and the heading rotation, I will set this to 180 degrees. We have heading, pitch, and banking. We just changed the heading, which is the direction it is facing. And if I play this, you will see it's just a single run cycle, which reaches this point and then simply jumps back to the beginning. So we have to expand our timeline to be much longer. So if I click in the duration box over here, I will type in 16, which extends this to 16 seconds. Your timeline is probably in frames, so if you want to change it to what I have here, go to Edit, Preferences, and under Units, you want to change the animation unit from the default frames to SMPTE. This is my preferred unit in Cinema 4D. Before we move on, let me also show you some simple navigation shortcuts. Press 1 on the keyboard, click anywhere, and move your mouse around. This is going to pan around your scene. If you press 2, this is going to zoom in, or if you move to the left, it's going to zoom back out. And then if you press the number 3, this is going to orbit around wherever you click. So you can actually orbit around specific points or zoom in into specific areas also. Anyway, we want our character to continue running, because right now if I press play, he runs to that point and simply stops. To fix this, we have to go to the timeline window. If I go to window and timeline dope sheet, let's open that one. And here we have the joints which are moving this body over here. If I open this up, you can see all the other sub keyframes. We are interested in the top level one. So if I click this, you can see it selects all the other keyframes too. Let me just name this run 1 also, and you can see it renames up here. This is the same object I am looking at. And so if I select that keyframe track, when I select this, you can see on the right side we have track properties. And here we are interested in this after control. We want to decide what happens after these keyframes have played through once. By default, nothing happens. So let's change this to repeat. And we can actually type in the number of repetitions we want. Let's type in 20, and this should be enough to cover this entire timeline. Now if I hit play, you can see the animation is repeating, but it's always jumping back to the original point. And that's because we need to do one more step. We need to pick a particular animation track, which instead of just repeating, we want to repeat and offset at the same time. And this will make more sense if I just show you. If I go to the position of this top object, position Z, we can see the original keyframes right there. And then after that, these are the repetitions that we set up a few moments ago. But you can see it just jumps back to the beginning, and that's what these lines represent. So instead of simply repeating, let's click this track and change its after setting from repeat to offset repeat. And now if you see, this line extends down in this direction. This is like an imaginary line which will now continue going this way. And what that looks like in the project is, now if I hit play, this will now continue running. So all the other keyframe tracks are simply repeating, but the keyframe track responsible for movement in this direction is repeating and offsetting, which is basically adding to the previous repetition. So the character ends up running in that direction forever. So that's how to bring in our initial character with its very short animation and extending it out into the distance.